Close your eyes, don't leave a space. No clocks, no names, just the sound of the air when you breathe my way. No past, no doubt, just let the dark pull the edges out. Close your eyes, let the world turn slow. Let the moment be the only thing we know. No before, no next in line, just you and me outside of time. Close your eyes, let silence speak. Hold me like we're secrets lost in deep. No forever, no rewind, just love me here before the light. City hum fades on the glass, soft reflections we cannot grasp. Your silhouette bends in the air, like a story left half aware. Windows glow with lives we don't own. Shadows move but they're not our own. Forget the noise, forget the signs. Just close your eyes, make this alive. No clocks, no names, just the sound of the air when you breathe my way. No past, no doubt, just let the dark pull the edges out. Close your eyes, let the world turn slow. Let the moment be the only thing we know. No before, no next in line, just you and me outside of time. Close your eyes, let silence speak. Hold me like we're secrets lost in deep. No forever, no rewind, just love me here before the light. If the dawn forgets our names, if the night erases fate, will you still know the way back to this place we made? Turn the key, the door disappears. Footsteps melt into empty years. All we hear are just a trace. Close your eyes, don't leave a space. Neon rivers, plastic skies, a perfect world where nothing dies. Lips taste like electric rain, hearts designed to feel the same. Near towers, endless night, we built a dream that feels too right. Touch my skin, program glow. Tell me, do you really know? Are we echoes in a the night rewinds before we step in. Shadows stretch where the clocks won't tick. Are we moving forward or lost in the trick? Footsteps echo but never land, written in patterns we don't understand. Your voice is near, then fades to none. Are we still here or have we come undone? Every answer bends and breaks. Nothing holds yet nothing fades. You call my name but when I turn, I see you standing where we burn. Midnight paradox spinning slow, chasing time where it won't go. Every step a missing piece, is reckless, tonight is real. Tonight is more than words can feel. Don't before know what comes next. Just hold me close, just take that step. Tonight is golden, burning blue. Tonight is nothing but me and you. If the world fades when we're through, then let me drown in only you. Street lights flicker like second thoughts. Coffee is cold, but you don't mind. Stirring silence with your tired eyes. Laughter fades like an old cliche. We say the words, but they don't sound the same. Hands still touch, but don't hold tight. You're here, but you feel out of sight. Something's shifted, something's gone. Tell me, love, what went wrong? Are we lost, or just afraid? Is this real, or did we change? I trace the lines where we used to be, but you don't turn, you don't see. With you, what's wrong? Why does it feel like you've already gone? We're standing close, the world's apart. Breathing the same air, but not the same heart. With you, what's wrong? Is this the start of where we come undone? Say something, mean something, hold on, tell me I'm wrong. Midnight drives just to fill the space. Talking loud but never say a thing. Your hands in mine, but they don't feel like holding on to something already let go. Lights turn red, but we just drift. Like we're waiting for a sign to quit. Do we fight? Do we pretend? Or do we let the silence win? Are we lost or just afraid? Is this real or did we change? I trace the lines where we used to be, but you don't turn, you don't see. With you, what's wrong? Why does it feel like you've already gone? We're standing close, the world's apart. Breathing the same air, but not the same heart. With you, what's wrong? Is this the start of where we come undone? Say something, mean something, hold on, tell me I'm wrong. If I walk away, will you pull me back? If I stop asking, will you react? If this is fading, then let it show. Don't let me be the last to know. Coffee is cold, but you don't mind. Stirring silence with your tired eyes. Laughter fades like an old cliche. We say the words, but they don't sound the same. With you, what's wrong? Why does it feel like you've already gone? We're standing close, the world's apart. Breathing the same air, but not the same heart. With you, what's wrong? Is this the start of where we come undone? Say something, mean something, hold on and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You don't wanna talk to me, I feel it in the air. Now I'm walking down a lonesome street, you're just laying there. We were like fireflies, but the flame went out too soon. Now you're hiding from my eyes while I'm howling at the moon. And I'm alone again, all on my own again. I thought you would be my friend, but now it's gone. I guess I'm wrong, and it's not your fault, you know. I guess you had your reasons, but you didn't have to go. I guess it was the season. Now there's a cold wind blowing through my empty chest. I've got no way of knowing how to be my best. When I'm alone again, all on my own again. I thought you would be my friend, but now it's gone. I guess I'm wrong. half-open suitcase by you. Air too heavy, words caught in between. Streetlights flicker like second thoughts. The taxi's waiting at the corner now. Something lingers, something fades. A thread unspun, a half-drawn page. Do I pull? Do I cut? Or do I let it drift away? Maybe silence says it better. Maybe distance tells the truth. Maybe if I keep it quiet, you won't notice I'm losing you. Before you go, do I say too much or not enough? Do I pull you back or call you bluff? Do I watch the road until you fade, or turn around like it's okay? Before you go, do I let you know or let it be? Is it holding on or setting free? If I don't swim, will you ever know? Or were you already gone before you go? Shadows stretch where you used to stand. Coffee's cold in your half-held hand. Your breath lingers like a song unsung, like a note left hanging on a silver tongue. Every step you take I memorize, but I don't move, I don't decide. Maybe leaving ain't the hardest part. Maybe knowing how to watch it. Maybe silence says it better. Maybe distance tells the truth. Maybe if I keep it quiet, you won't notice I'm losing you. Before you go, do I say too much or not enough? Do I pull you back or call you bluff? Do I watch the road until you fade, turn around like it's okay? Before you go, do I let you know or let it be? Is it holding on or setting free? If I don't speak, will you ever know? Or were you already gone before you go? 1 second left, 1 breath between. A moment stretched too far to reach. If I could freeze the space and time, would you turn around, change your mind? Doors half open, suitcase gone. Morning breaks like nothing's wrong. Guess I'll never really know if you were already gone before you go. Doors half open, suitcase gone. Morning breaks like nothing's wrong. Guess I'll never really know if you were already gone before you go. Took the long way home again, chasing taillights in the rain. Felt the night stretch out too thin, like a song that just won't end. Pulled the door but left it wide, like I'm waiting for a sign. Static hums behind my eyes. Something's missing, but I can't decide. Say it loud, shake the sky, set a fire in my mind. Take me under, pull me in, show me something more than this. Let it break, let it burn, give me something I can't unlearn. Run me wild, don't resist, make me feel like more than this. Left my name on the window pane, watched it fade into the same. Every step feels deja vu, like I've been here but never been. Turn the dial, change the song, but the feeling still plays on. Maybe I was meant to crave something I can't walk away from. Say it loud, shake the sky, set a fire in my mind. Take me under, pull me in, show me something more than this.
Names dissolve in the window's glare. Was I ever there? Were you ever there? Footsteps echo down empty streets, but I swear you just spoke to me. Every word feels misplaced, like a dream that won't erase. Maybe time don't work the same. Maybe love don't fade, just waits. Maybe we were just a flicker, playing scenes we can't remember. Somewhere in time I still reach for you. Somewhere in time, do you feel it too? Maybe we met, maybe we missed. Maybe we're stuck in the space between this. Somewhere in time you call my name. Somewhere in time I do the same. If we were real, if we were right, then why do we only exist somewhere in time? Streetlights blink like deja vu. Shadows move but they don't match you. Your touch fades like static waves. Was it yesterday or just today? Try to chase it, try to stay, but the hands on the clock won't wait. I rewind, I replay, but I don't know what to change. Maybe time don't work the same. Maybe love don't fade, just waits. Maybe we were just a flicker, playing scenes we can't remember. Somewhere in time I still reach for you. Somewhere in time, do you feel it too? Maybe we met, maybe we missed. Maybe we're stuck in the space between this. Somewhere in time you call my name. Somewhere in time I do the same. If we were real, if we were right, then why do we only exist somewhere in time? If I turn back, will I find you there? Or just a ghost in the midnight air? If I stop running, if I stand still, do we fade, or are we real? Saw your face in the station light, but the clock said I was late last night. Names dissolved, no windows glare. Was I ever there? Were you ever there? Saw your face in the station light, but the clock said I was late last night. Names dissolved in the windows glare. Was I ever there? Were you ever there?
Streets half asleep, but the lights still hum. Soft glow on the pavement, tracing where we used to be. Your shadow moves in the corner of my sight, or maybe it's just the way the night ends time. Fingers tap on the window pane, rain slides down, spelling out your name. I could reach, I could call, but some ghosts don't answer at all. Still with me, still in the static, still in the spaces, the silence inhabits. Still in the air when I close my eyes, still in the breath I can't define. Not here, not gone, not black, not blue, but somehow you're still with me too. Took the long way, passed by your street. Not sure if it's habit or something underneath. Felt the air shift like an unseen wave, like a song had played, stuck between the frames. Footsteps echo but they don't match mine. A second too late, a second behind. If I turn, would I see? Or is this just the way it's supposed to be? Still with me, still in the static, still in the spaces, the silence inhabits. Still in the air when I close my eyes, still in the breath I can't define. change the way they stay. Still with me, still in the static, still in the spaces the silence inhabits. Still in the air when I close my eyes, still in the breath I can't define. Not here, not gone, not black, not blue, but somehow you're still with me. Maybe time don't take, it only hides. Maybe distance don't mean goodbye. Maybe some things never fade, they just change the way they stay. I don't know where the night begins. Somewhere past the lights, past the noise, past the lines I swore I wouldn't. Footsteps dissolve into echoes, but I don't turn around. Don't ask myself why, don't pull myself out. Something in the air tastes electric. Something in your voice bends the dark. I should leave, I should stay, but I don't. So tell me what you are. Falling, didn't see it coming, but I don't look away. Something about the way you pull me closer, way you let me slip away. No ceiling, no ground, just an ocean that don't ask me. I try to stop it now, I know I don't want it all the same. Shadow in the doorway, watched it disappear like smoke. I don't know if I'm chasing something real, or if I'm just another shape you hold. Every step moves like a wave, pulls me forward, pulls me through. There's no map for this direction, but I never cared for maps with you. Falling, didn't see it coming, but I don't look away. Something about the way you pull me closer, when you let me slip away. No ceiling,
deeper than the sea. Maybe I don't need the right lines. Maybe we don't need to define. Maybe love was never spoken, but I've heard it all this time. Show me something more than words, more than echoes, more than verse. Something I can feel, something I can hold, something I don't need to be told. If love is real, if love is true, then let it be more than words with you. No promises, no grand confession, but your shadow lingers when you're gone. In the quiet I still hear you, in the silence you still stay too long. Every glance is like a whisper, every touch a line unsaid. Maybe love is in the missing, in the space between regret. Maybe I don't need the right lines. Maybe we don't need to define. Maybe love was never spoken, but I've heard it all this time. Show me something more than words, more than echoes, more than verse. Something I can feel, something I can hold, something I don't need to be told. If love is real, if love is true, then let it be more than words with you. If I close my eyes, will it disappear? If you stay silent, does it mean you're near? If I never ask, if I never say, do we love or fade away? Away. Eyes meet, but no one's speaking. Lips part, but the air stays still. Maybe love is something quiet. Maybe love is something real.
First fall in your gravity. You know I'm in too deep. You feel like prophecy. It's all meant to be. Don't laugh if you wanna know the future with me in it. I might be down to go if you're serious with it. And your dreams can be my dreams too. You're enough, I think I need you. It's so easy, baby, to see we're meant to be. Why hide? You know I'm yours. Boy, I can never be wrong. You already know that you're mine. left my cold at the door. Could've sworn I'd be back before the cold kicked in. Street lights flicker, play with the dark, like they know something I don't let in. Took the long way, didn't mean to, but the wheels just turned that way. Funny how the roads remember what I swore I let fade. Half of me still lingers there, half of me pretends I don't care. Half of me walks right past your street, half of me still waits at your feet. Not here, not gone, just somewhere between. Half of you, half of me. Coffee rings on the countertop, left just like we always did. I don't clean them up, not sure why. Guess I like the evidence. Your name still feels like static, buzzing low against my skin. Doesn't hurt, doesn't heal, just a weight that always wins. Half of me still lingers there, half of me pretends I don't care. Half of me walks right past your street, half of me still waits at your feet. Not here, not gone, just somewhere between. Half of you, half of me. What if I left, but I never went? What if I tried, but never knew? What if this is all we'll ever be? Not whole, not lost, just caught in between. Left my coat at your door, never came back for it. Guess I figured if I did, I'd have to take the rest of me with it.
Yeah, silver corridors stretch too wide, mirrors bend but won't decide. Every color shifts but won't align. Is this a vision or a sign? Footsteps echo but leave no mark. Laughter fades before it starts. I chase a voice I used to know, but every time it lets me go. Lines blur, edges shake, pieces drift but never break. Every fragment pulls me near, but nothing stays when I get here. Lucid mosaic, slipping away, stitched together but won't stay. Tilled reflections, falling fast, a perfect dream that couldn't last. Lucid mosaic, fading bright, hollow patterns made of light. If I wait, do I remain, or will I lose this painted frame? Glass dissolves beneath my skin, pattern shift, reset again. I walk through doors that lead nowhere, yet somehow I've already been there. Familiar hands, distorted smiles, someone calls but from behind. I turn too late, the moment slips. Was it real or just a glitch? Lines blur, edges shake, pieces drift but never break. Every fragment pulls me near, but nothing stays when I get here. Lucid mosaic, slipping away, stitched together but won't stay. Till reflections, falling fast, a perfect dream that couldn't last. Lucid mosaic, fading bright, hollow patterns made of light. chasing the sun. If I step beyond the seas, will I wake or stay unseen? Silver corridors stretch too wide. Mirrors bend but won't decide. If I let go, do I remain? Or will I fade into the frame?
Doors half open, suitcase by your feet. Air too heavy, words caught in between. Streetlights flicker like second thoughts, but the taxi's waiting at the corner lot. Something lingers, something fades. A thread unspun, a half-drawn page. Do I pull? Do I cut? Or do I let it drift away? Maybe silence says it better. Maybe distance tells the truth. Maybe if I keep it quiet, you won't notice I'm losing you. Before you go, do I say too much or not enough? Do I pull you back or call you bluff? Do I watch the road until you fade, or turn around like it's okay? Before you go, do I let you know or let it be? Is it holding on or setting free? If I don't speak, will you ever know? Or were you already gone before you go? Shadows stretch where you used to stand. Coffee's cold in your half-held hand. Your breath lingers like a song unsung, like a note left hanging on a silver tongue. Every step you take I memorize, but I don't move, I don't decide. Maybe leaving ain't the hardest part. Maybe knowing how to watch it. Maybe silence says it better. Maybe distance tells the truth. Maybe if I keep it quiet, you won't notice I'm losing you. Before you go, do I say too much or not enough? Do I pull you back or call you bluff? Do I watch the road until you fade, turn around like it's okay? Before you go, do I let you know or let it be? Is it holding on or setting free? If I don't speak, will you ever know? Or were you already gone before you go? 1 second left, one breath between. A moment stretched too far to reach. If I could freeze the space and time, would you turn around, change your mind? Doors half open, suitcase gone. Morning breaks like nothing wrong. Guess I'll never really know if you were already gone before you go. Doors half open, suitcase gone. Morning breaks like nothing's wrong. Guess I'll never really know if you were already gone before you go. Took the long way home again, chasing taillights in the rain. Felt the night stretch out too thin, like a song that just won't end. Pulled the door but left it wide, like I'm waiting for a sign. Static comes behind my eyes.
clock said I was late last night. Names resolved in the windows glare. Was I ever there? Were you ever there? Footsteps echo down empty streets, but I swear you just spoke to me. Every word feels misplaced, like a dream I wanna erase. Maybe time don't work the same. Maybe love don't fade, just waits. Maybe we were just a flicker, playing scenes we can't remember. Somewhere in time I still reach for you. Somewhere in time, do you feel it too? Maybe we met, maybe we missed. Maybe we're stuck in the space between this. Somewhere in time you call my name. Somewhere in time I do the same. If we were real, if we were right, then why do we only exist somewhere in time? Street lights blink like deja vu. Shadows move but they don't match you. Your touch fades like static waves. Was it yesterday or just today? Try to chase it, try to stay, but the hands on the clock won't wait. I rewind, I replay, but I don't know what to change. Maybe time don't work the same. Maybe love don't fade, just waits. Maybe we were just a flicker, playing scenes we can't remember. Somewhere in time I still reach for you. Somewhere in time, do you feel it too? Maybe we met, maybe we missed. Maybe we're stuck in the space between us. Somewhere in time you call my name. Somewhere in time I do the same. If we were real, if we were right, then why do we only exist somewhere in time? If I turn back, will I find you there? Or just a ghost in the midnight air? If I stop running, if I stand still, do we fade, or are we real? Saw your face in the station light, but the clock said I was late last night. Names dissolve in the windows glare. Was I ever there? Were you ever there? Saw your face in a station light, but the clock said I was late last night. Names dissolve in the windows glare. Was I ever there? Were you ever there?
Streets half asleep, but the lights still hum. Soft glow on the pavement, tracing where we used to run. Your shadow moves in the corner of my sight. Maybe it's just the midnight, then it's time. Fingers tap on the window pane. Rain slides down, spelling out your name. I could reach, I could call, but some ghosts don't answer at all. Still with me, still in the static, still in the spaces the silence inhabits. Still in the air when I close my eyes. Still in the breath I can't define. Not here, not gone, not black, not blue, but somehow you're still with me too. Took the long way past by your street. Not sure if it's habit or something underneath. Felt the air shift like an unseen wave, like a song had played, stuck between frames. Footsteps echo but they don't match mine. A second too late, a second behind. If I turn, would I see? Or is this just the way it's supposed to be? Still with me, still in the static, still in the spaces the silence inhabits. Still in the air when I close my eyes. Still in the breath I Maybe some things never fade, they just change the way they stay. Still with me, still in the static, still in the spaces the silence inhabits. Still in the air when I close my eyes, still in the breath I can't define. Not here, not gone, not black, not, but somehow still with me too. Maybe time don't take, it only hides. Maybe distance don't mean goodbye. Maybe some things never fade, they just change the way they stay. I don't know where the night begins. Somewhere past the lights, past the noise, past the lines I swore I wouldn't cross. Footsteps dissolve in the echoes, but I don't turn around. Don't ask myself why, don't pull myself out. Something in the air tastes electric. Something in your voice bends the dark. I should leave, I should stay, but I don't. So tell me what you are.
but no one's speaking. Lips part, but care stays still. Maybe love is something quiet. Maybe love is first fall in your gravity. You know I'm in too deep. You feel like prophecy. It's all meant to be. Don't laugh if you wanna know the future with me in it. Cause I might be down to go if you're serious with it. And your dreams can be my dreams too. You're enough, I think I need you. It's so easy, baby, to see we're meant to be. Why hide? You know I'm yours. Boy, I can never be wrong. You already know that you're mine. You know it, you know it. And your dreams can be my dreams too. You're enough, I think I need you. It's so easy, baby, to see we're meant to be. Fall in your gravity. I'm in too deep. You feel like prophecy. It's all meant to be. Deep in a dream where shadows play. In your arms I find my way. With every whisper, every sigh. Together forever you left my coat at the door. Could've sworn I'd be back before the cold kicked in. Street lights flicker, play with the dark, like they know something I don't let in. Took the long way, didn't mean to, but the wheels just turned that way. Funny how the roads remember what I swore I'd let go. Half of me still lingers there. Half of me pretends I don't care. Half of me walks right past your street. Half of me still waits at your feet. Not here, not gone, just somewhere between. Half of you, half of me. Coffee rings on the countertop, left just like we always did. I don't clean them up, not sure why. Yes, I like the evidence. Your name still feels like static, buzzing low against my skin. Doesn't hurt, doesn't heal, just a weight that always wins. Half of me still lingers there. Half of me pretends I don't care. Half of me walks right past your street. Half of me still waits at your feet. Not here, not gone, just somewhere between. Half of you, half of me. What if I left, but I never went? What if I tried, but never knew? What if this is all we'll ever be? Not whole, not lost, figured if I did, I'd have to take the rest of me with me. Yeah. So the corridor stretched too wide, mirrors bend but won't decide. Every color shifts but won't align. Is this a vision or a sign? Footsteps that go but leave no mark. Laughter fades before it starts. I chase a voice I used to know, but every time it lets me go. Lines blur, edges shake, pieces drift but never break. Every fragment pulls me near, but nothing stays when I get here. Lucid mosaic, slipping away, stitched together but won't stay. Tilled reflections, falling fast, a perfect dream that couldn't last. Lucid mosaic, fading bright, hollow patterns made of light. If I wake, do I remain, or will I lose this painted frame? Glass dissolves beneath my skin, pattern shift, reset again. I walk through doors that lead nowhere, yet somehow I've already been there. Familiar hands, distorted smile, someone calls but from behind. I turn too late, the moment slips. Was it real or just a glitch? Lines blur, edges shake, pieces drift but never break. Every fragment pulls me near, but nothing stays when I get here. Lucid mosaic, slipping away, stitched together but won't stay. Tilled reflections, falling fast, a perfect dream that couldn't last. Lucid mosaic, fading bright, hollow patterns made of light. If I wake, do I remain, or will I lose this painted frame? What if I let the colors run? What if I stop chasing the sun? If I step beyond the scenes, will I wake or stay unseen? Silver corridor stretched too wide, mirrors bend but won't decide.